I think we have already listened to quite a lengthy topic, and I will take a few minutes, maybe sometimes few minutes, maybe about 30 minutes. So let's see how it goes. This is about effects of parental conflict on teenagers and how to have a better relationship. This has been a topic that was very close to my heart because naturally parents love the kids, naturally. And I think that when I say next, maybe the next slide here. Parents may not hurt their children intentionally. And I believe that mothers give birth to their kids, and parents, fathers work long hours trying to fend for their kids. We naturally love the kids and we don't want to hurt them. But however, we parents inflict pain on our kids unintentionally. So this is something that is very needed to understand. And there are three areas three areas of hurt. And this is when parents have conflict. I believe that there isn't a couple that didn't have conflict. I mean, we all have had conflict. And this is not about once in a way conflict, but this is habitual conflict. Now, when parents are in conflict, children have the inability to face the circumstances. And because they find it difficult to face it, the circumstance, they have the anxiety. They are constantly anxious. We do not know what's going to happen. My father and mother would fight. I really don't know what to happen. Now, anxiety is something that happens to normally kids when they face up to exams, when they have to go for something new. They are starting a new practice, yes, they get anxious. But anxiety here, what I'm talking about, is feeling helpless, hopeless, sometimes loss of appetite, loss of energy. That's the anxiety I'm talking here. And the depression about we don't know what's going to happen. Now, these are inability to face the circumstance. That I would say would be the lowest level of effects on the child because of parental conflict. Now there it comes a little deeper when it comes to disruption of loyalty. Both father and mother are important people in a life of a child, and especially when they are teenagers, where they form relationships with each other, they are friends, their relationship group expands, but nevertheless the father and the mother are the people whom they trust the most. Yes, they have friendships, but the father and mother are the people whom they trust the most. So what happens when there is parental conflict? We sometimes feel when there is parental conflict, okay, it's a matter of right or wrong. But something deeper happens to the child, and that is the child learns to take sides. Whether we like it or not, they take sides, and as a result, they have to let go of a person or they have to break down the loyalty to a person who is a very significant person in their life. Be it the father, be it the mother. And as a result, the child learns to be disloyal in the relationships. And this is very significant because sometimes we parents don't know the consequences. This goes on into their adult lives as well. So you will feel children disloyal. Now the third kind of pain is the hating of oneself. Now this is of course a little bit deeper than the previous two kinds. We all know that children are a product of two, the mother and the father. The parents know it and the children know it. Now, when children are a product of two, there are some characteristics that come from the father and there are some characteristics that come from the mother. Now, when a child learns that, okay, my ability to focus study well came from my mother or came from my father, the child should naturally learn to celebrate that. Now, to this date, sometimes I say, I was like my father in these areas. I take pride in that. But what happens in parental conflict is something very deep, that this happens when the child actually demonizes or child disregards one parent or behaves as if the parent is non-existent. When that child finds character traits of that parent being revealed in that person, that child begins to hate himself. I don't know whether I made myself clear, or do you understand? When you just say that the child is angry with the father, and when the child recognizes some of the traits coming from the father in me, the child begins to hate himself, and that is the time they try using drugs, alcohol, or self-harm. Because to numb the feeling, there is someone in me which I don't like. So this is why parental conflict is such a topic that we need to discuss. Parental conflict is something that we need not ignore. And the next slide is, so where do we start? Now let me, we'll go to the next slide. Now, why are we talking this? Because if you want to make time spent with your partner a bliss, this is something that is very important, because when parents are in conflict, most of the time is spent on arguing, exchanging heated words, sorting out problems. That's how usually, if a parents are in conflict, how they spend time. But these things are valuable if you want to make the time spent with your partner a bliss, and if you want to foster togetherness in the relationship. Couples can be under the same roof, sleeping on the same bed, eating at the same table, but worlds apart from each other. Now that is why we need to understand and we need to discuss these concepts, because if you want to be free, if you want freedom to be yourself in the relationship, some partners are always in a reactionary mode. They are not bringing into the relationship the strength they need to bring. And every relationship is unique, and some of the things that you can bring, only you can bring. And we need those in every relationship. And if you want your partner to value and honor you. Now there are some things that who this is not for. Because we need to, who this is not for is those who want to become a victim of the relationship. Some have absolutely given up on the relationship. And when they give up, that is a sign that, you know, however much you instruct a person on the relationship, when they have given up, it's not going to help. So if you want your relationship right, the first thing you need to do is to own the relationship. And those who are unwilling to follow step-by-step instruction, because I do have a course on bringing couples together, and it's a step-by-step instruction, because sometimes we tend to not do certain steps. And this is not for those who are too busy to set a time to build the relationship. For anything worthwhile to happen, you need time. If you want to earn more, you need to spend time earning. If you want to do well in your studies, you need to spend time studying. If you want a good relationship, there is no other way than spending time. You need to spend time if you need a good relationship. Right, let me discuss why I am doing this. Because make this world a better place. Some of the unhappiness in relationships is a cause of substance abuse, anxiety, depression. So this is why we need to do focus on relationships, develop self-confident kids. It has been found that one of the greatest causes of lack of self-confidence in kids are the conflicts between parents. And, make life a celebration with happy romantic relationships. So in the next, maybe I have said 45 minutes, I'm not going to take 45 minutes. In the maybe next 20 minutes, I'm going to cover 3 areas what most people don't realize about focusing on problems and losing attachment, the simple way to foster softness of heart in your relationship, and a little known secret to build togetherness in your relationship. Right. Now, here is why you need to know what I need to know. A fulfilled relationship has 7 basic characteristics. And these 7 characteristics are not rocket science. You would have experienced these characteristics sometime or the other. But if you bring these 7 characteristics into your relationship, virtually you can turn any relationship around. I have worked with so many people. I have brought these 7 characteristics, and once those are recognized, their marriages are flourishing. Right? Now these are the characteristics: attachment, softness of heart, mature love, togetherness, atmosphere for change, freedom, and happiness. Now today we are not going to go for all 7. We are going to only focus on 3. And the next slide I have done is, not that one, next one. I have 2 gifts for you. So if you stay till the end, I have put a price tag also for these gifts, because in a commercial world, if you say anything is given free, it's not valuable. So I have put price. One is 2,000 rupees, one is 5. So you're going to go away with 7,000 rupees today, right? So be happy, right? Right. So let me go to the other one. Are you doing things the hard way? Now, are you using force to change your partner's behavior? That is, I think, one of the toughest things if you're going to do, you will do and fail most of the time. If you use toughness, force, you can be sure at the end of the day, it will not work, right? Then, are you fighting loneliness and keeping yourself busy? Sometimes you are lonely in the relationship, you're fighting so hard, you're keeping yourself busy. Are you insecure and simply don't know how to fix it? Are you trying hard to win your partner's attention? Or are you attempting to love while numbing your emotional wounds? It doesn't, next slide, it doesn't have to be that way. Now let me tell you an easier way. And this is one of the, we'll go to the next slide. These are some of the reviews I have got. We are married for the past 19 years. After the 2nd year of marriage, we were verbally abusive towards one another. We hated each other and was seeking a separation. We thank God for coaching we received from Dr.Jeham. He helped us to feel valuable again. We were able to understand each other and see the blessing that God has given us in our family life. We now have a happiness that we didn't know existed in our marriage. We also found a new joy in forgiving others. It helped us to recover our marriage and be happy in it. We thank God for giving us a second chance. We have no words to express our gratitude. Now, this is a couple married for 19 years. They have lived fighting for 17 years. But when you bring those 7 characteristics into the relationship, all of a sudden, like a light turned on, everything changed, right? Okay, the next slide. I'm a law college student. I'm in a relationship with a young man who for the past 3 years, a relative of my fiance was having a negative influence on him and was working against our relationship. This led to many arguments between me and my fiance. I resorted to frequent crying and took on a remorseful demeanor. I was about to give up on him when I met Dr. Jeham, and on the first day I spoke, he made me a positive thinker and brought healing to my heart. I was privileged to attend his sessions with my fiance. Now our relationship is stronger than ever. I feel No one can come between us. I want to thank God for making our lives happy again. Because it is so evident that these 7 steps, it's like turning something and shifting something, right? Now, results are not accidental, because for any result, you need some effort. It is for any result, you need effort, you need time. Let's go to the next slide. Now we'll go up to the first principle: work on your attachment and not the problem. Now, this is a common mistake that many couples face when they have problems. They feel that if we can solve all our problems, then our relationship would become a fabulous one. So what happens when a couple has conflict, or the husband and wife has conflict? They try all their means to settle the problem. But one thing happens. Now, I think Dr. Lalith also spoke about the prefrontal cortex. Now, that is the place where you do all your math calculation. That is the place where you do your studies. That's the place where you work, strategize, plan, and do everything. Now, when you are solving a problem, that is the place that your brain uses, the prefrontal cortex. And when you are solving a problem, how many of you know that you would choose the easiest way to solve the problem? You will choose the least expensive way to solve the problem. You will use the easiest, the fastest, the most accurate way to solve the problem. Now, just imagine if your husband or wife loves you with the least amount of money, with the quickest way, with the most accurate way, and quick fix, everything done. That's not the way we love. Because simply, love is done by another part of the brain called the limbic system, where the hypothalamus is the one that is most active. It is the time to spend a lot of time. It is the place where you feel the time passing by without no clear agenda. That is love. So what happens to human brains when they try to solve problem is they are activating the wrong place, and they are trying to find love. Now, dear friends, that is why when solving problems, when you go to many marriage counselors, the first thing they do is try to solve each other's problems. And sometimes I feel sad for the couple, because that's not the place where you will get a good marriage. The good marriage is a place where you build on your attachment. Sometimes you may have to forget the problem, and you need attachment. Now, just imagine this. When you first, your husband or wife, and you fell in love with each other, was it the time that you simply didn't have problems? Or was it the time that you felt a lot of attachment in spite of the problems? You overcame the problems because of the attachment. Now, this is why it is, we'll go to the, solving problem does not equal good relationship. Some of the best relationships are not free from problems, and attachment is your power, in your power. Now, we'll go to the next slide. There are some attachment styles. This is the first slide, is called the anxious attachment. The anxious attachment is the other partner wants most of your feelings to be communicated to the other. If you're feeling this way, you want the same feeling to be felt by the other. And when that happens, the other partner feels like squashed. I have no freedom. All the emotions the other partner is coming on me. Every decision, every attachment has to be shared. That is called anxious attachment. The avoidant attachment is the quite opposite. That is, the partner feels insecure to share their personal lives. So hardly is there any attachment. Now, the problem comes when anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment, husband and wife, meet. One person wants to hug this person to himself, the other person wants to stay away again, and comes the problem. Now, the secure attachment is when they connect with each other sufficiently, but each one has the freedom to pursue their own ends also. So that is the secure attachment. Now, how do you apply this principle into your relationship? Are you focusing on the problem or the attachment? One simple but very profound question. If you want a good relationship, you need to focus on the attachment. Secondly, know your partner's attachment style. Thirdly, develop a secure attachment with your partner. Next slide. Are you waiting for the problems between you and your partner to cease before you feel love for each other? In my first example, they have waited 19 years till their problems settled. Unfortunately, their problems didn't settle. And some couples go on till death do us part, trying to solve problems to have a better relationship. That's not the way, right? Okay, second one is creating softness of heart. Now, just remember the first time you fell in love and you had this glowing desire to meet with the person whom you wanted to meet and love, and the next move was to, next slide, to touch and speak. The next move was touch and speak. You would have spoken, you would have touched. That's the way you communicate love. Now sadly, when couples age or when couples have been married for a long time, the only place they touch is when they are having a physical intimacy. Otherwise, I have met couples, the only time they touch each other is only when they are having physical intimacy. Otherwise, they don't touch. Now, this is why sometimes couples fail. And the husbands and the wives feel, my husband doesn't love me anymore, because that touch has ceased. Now, if you want a good relationship, you need to know to speak kindly and to touch. Very vital ingredients, very, very necessary. Now, let's go to the next slide. This is the stages of building communication. First, you had a great desire and you had this desire. The next one is invitational communication, where you invite them, do you like this, do you like that, or invitational. Then comes the explorational communication, where you wanted to find about each other and you talk to each other. Then comes the intensifying communication, where virtually you speak anything that comes to your mind, and this is the time that couples can't live without each other. They are so happy. Now, this period from no interaction to intensifying communication lasts from about 6 months to 3 years. After that comes the revising communication. The husband and the wife gets a realistic view of each other, not the euphoric view. After that time comes the revising communication, and the most significant part of this communication are their plans together. Their future plans together. In your marriage, in my marriage, do we have common plans together? It could be about your kids, it could be about your future earning, retirement, whatever. The more you have common plans together, you will find more connection and good communication. Because when you are revising communication, you get rid of all the petty talk. It becomes long. The next we go to the breaking of communication. The first phase, these are all in psychology. Its first thing is called dyadic breakdown. Dyadic breakdown is, the husband doesn't put the arm around the wife, or the wife doesn't cook the favorite meal. They feel, oh, my husband and wife she doesn't love me, he doesn't love me. Dyadic, you feel as if that person doesn't love. Then intrapsychic phase. Intrapsychic phase is when they start worrying and they cannot connect with each other. They start worrying about the little negligencies. That's called the intrapsychic phase. And then come the dyadic phase, where they live as two separate people. Right? Then comes the social support, which is they are virtually breaking up, and comes the grave dressing, that is, that they complete their ways. Now, this is why we need to know the simple way to create softness of heart is awareness of your communication phase. A good place to start is try to achieve a level that is just above you. If you are living as two people, try to be friends. Just achieve a level higher. And that way you can actually connect with your partner. Right, next slide. How does this apply to you? Let me engage in conversations with your partner, leaving behind the past. Start your conversations as you had at the getting to know time of your relationship. That is the best way. So the second phase is touch and speak. Now comes the third part, building togetherness in your relationship. And this is what I told earlier. You can be on the same bed, sleep in under the same roof, but can be worlds apart. Now, togetherness is a very important principle, not only with your husband and wife, but with your child as well. Togetherness helps a couple to feel they are a team. Now, this is the secret of building togetherness. Togetherness equals spending time contributing, listening, or accompanying for a common purpose. Togetherness means both the husband and wife contribute at the same level for some common thing. If you feel that togetherness is something that you need to improve, this is what you need to do. Now let's go to the next activity, the next slide. This is not something that is very difficult to do. How do you build togetherness in your relationship? Schedule a time to be with your partner. Time is needed. Recognize your partner's likes and dislikes. Your partner has some things he or she likes to receive some support. Find those things out and plan activities that will bring you together. If you do that, you will find a different sense of togetherness in your relationship. Right, next slide. Now, next slide please. Yeah. Right. Now I promised you that I had three things today. I spoke about attachment, I spoke about softness of heart, and I spoke about togetherness. Now let's go to the next slide. Now here is the real opportunity that I see for you, because I feel that, we can just hear this and go and forget about what have been said, but it goes back to your same results. Let's go to the next slide. The good news, it's not about waiting for your partner to change. If you're waiting to have a good relationship, waiting for your partner to change, but if your partner does not change. So get back, be hopeful about the relationship, get back the reins of your relationship, and it's about whether you're prepared to follow a simple step-by-step instruction. Okay, next one. What you need to win. You need to be the right person. These are very important things. To have a good relationship, you need to be the right person. And you need the right instructions. And you need the right help. Okay, let's go to the gifts. I promised you 2 gifts. These are the gifts, right? So I have prepared an ebook with all the 7 steps. Of course, when I'm doing these 7 steps, it takes me about 9 hours of teaching. all the 7 steps. And so if you want to learn the 7 steps, what exactly are the 7 steps, please send a WhatsApp text to this number and you will get a link of the 7 steps. This is the 7th step that changed the couple who was fighting for 19 years. This was the 7 steps that brought the law student together. And these are only 2 examples that I have told, but there are countless other couples who went through the 7 steps and they have seen a significant difference in their relationship. I'll give you the number later. Now, there's a bonus gift. I said 2 gifts, so I need to give you 2 gifts. The bonus gift is I have a special gift for the first 10. I was expecting more than 10, so I think there are less than 10 couples. So I would like to give 1 hour a couple, or 40 minutes a couple. And we'll go to the next slide. And I would like to give you a plan to achieve a fulfilling relationship. I am happy to help you to develop a plan to create a fulfilling relationship for you. We'll go to the next slide. I have set aside some time in the next 72 hours. Sometimes it may extend to speak to 10 people how to apply these principles into your personal life. And this is what I'm going to talk to you on a 40-minute call. Firstly, I want to talk to you about your biggest challenge. This is my finding, this is my understanding that many couples try to get a good relationship, but they really don't know their biggest challenge. If you address the biggest challenge, you will definitely see a change in your relationship very fast. Results are very fast. Secondly, I will help you to solve it. And thirdly, I will set out a step-by-step plan for you to reach your end goal. Now let me say who this is for. This is for those who are committed to restore their relationship. Because it is also my understanding, many have given up when it comes to marriage conflicts. They give up. They say, I don't want this anymore. To those who are willing to take responsibility for your actions and results, if you are willing to change your approach to the relationship and be the best version of yourself, you must be open for new ways of thinking. If you can say yes to all of this, I am happy to help you for free during a 40-minute strategy call. And if you send me a text message, I would help you. If you have anybody who needs help, please pass on this number and I will be happy to help. And now why I am doing this? Because I have seen the effects on the kids. And I believe it is my bounden duty to help each couple before something grave happens. So in that 40-minute call, I will help you how to focus on your attachment, how to bring softness back into the relationship, and how to bring togetherness back into your relationship. Okay, so that's my number. Thank you very much.